And the Gemara says, Shema Yisrael precedes in order that the person should accept the yoke of the kingdom of heaven first. And afterwards he'll take upon himself on mitzvahs. And as we said, for practical purposes, this is not necessarily a necessity. But for a more meaningful aspect of accepting the mitzvahs, there is the significance in this. And the Rebbe explains, V'yodua, it is known, the Kabbalah, that this first acceptance of the yoke of heaven, this is Shema Yisrael, this Kabbalah, again, there were no mitzvahs, no orders given. So what is this Kabbalah Shemayim before any orders were issued? So it's explained, Yodua, it is known, that this is the principle of Habitul Le'Ein Sof, the Bitul, this total subjugation to the Ein Sof, Baal Horotzon. The Ein Sof, the Baal Horotzon. Baal Horotzon, no, but this is not a subjugation to the will. You want to do something, I'm prepared to do whatever you want me to do. This is the subjugation to the one who wants it. It behooves us to think into this phenomenon. If a person fulfills all the mitzvahs that he was commanded meticulously, he's a perfect human being. So what's missing still? What is it about He's a perfect human being. But there is no God in that form. Kabbalah Shemach Shemayim places him in an entirely different platform. He then represents, his beetle means, by being called total beetle subjugation, you represent the Ein Sof Baal. The real phenomenon of presence.
Why do we keep saying there's no God in Vahir and Shemaya? We keep saying things like that. It's a little confusing. That's all.
When a person does mitzvahs because this is something which makes him a perfect human being, the effect, the mission, the message in this is that he is a perfect human being, but he's not representing God. He's presenting the fact that a human being is a perfect creature. He represents the presence of God in the world. That's what he is about.
Yeah, but we even said about the Hayim Shemaya, not that there's no connection, but that there's no unity.
Yeah.
So we said there's a connection to Hashem.
In his action,
Yeah.
his action represents his own perfection. Him as a human being. His action does not present the presence of God.
What does it have to do with Hashem then if it doesn't?
Because Hashem gave it the command. It's Hashem's command. So the command is translated at his level.
And this is a connection. This is still called a connection with Hashem. Yeah.
Gentlemen, do we have seichel?
It's like a chitzoniistic connection, I guess. That's what it's called.
We speak over here of an effect of Makif, and the Rebbe says the Fedish, but this is Benelam. It's in a concealed, in a subtle way. So what do you have out of this? Benelam. We spent on this way 3 weeks.
That's talking about Shema. That's not talking about Vahim Shemaya.
The same thing. So you understand. So the Vahim Shemaya is the underpinning of the inspiration for that is his own interest, his own perfection. You speak about beetle. What happens if you're bottled? There's nothing left. So what's the point? What's your answer? What's your answer? What's the shot? What do you beat? What's the point of beating?
That's who you are, really. You're revealing who you are.
You're bottled.
Yeah, that's your truth. That's who you really are. Problem. It's a good thing.
Then you can represent the locus.
How is it that when you bottle, you present the locus?
So you take away your own yeshus, but we say about the Kabbalah soul. It's all what God wants, not what I want.
So, which means that there is a presence of a locus in everyone, but it is vanilla. It's a vanilla state. Vanilla means that it cannot be identified and related to on the seichel, on the practical level, on the kochos pnimiyah, on the functioning level. But in essence, he is one with that. That's in Benalla.
That's where we reconcile Bitul and Yichud.
Kabbalas oil Macha Shemayim is Kabbalas oil means you take upon yourself, you accept the yoke of heaven. Accepting the yoke of heaven does not refer to your understanding of what heaven is. And your appreciation of what heaven is. Accepting the yoke of heaven means that you submit to the heavenly command, the heavenly presence, because this is heaven, not because I understand what it is. And now he's saying a deeper in. There's the beetle to the ratzon, what Hashem wants from us, and we are bottled to it to fulfill it perfectly. And then there's the beetle, the Baal-Rotzin. The Baal-Rotzin, this is a much deeper, a much higher level of beetle. Because this level of beetle is something which remains in heaven. There's no expression of it reaching us. There is no expression of Ratzon, what he wants from us. It is just his presence that we are bottled to. It's called a beetle of Baal-Rotzin, the Ein Sof Baal-Rotzin. Ein Sof, I don't know, I hope we discussed it so many times. Ein Sof means that which is beyond our understanding completely. And for some reason, we are prepared to submit to this Ein Sof, which we cannot possibly encompass in our seichel. Know what it is. One thing that we recognize is that this is the Ein Sof, this is the total reality, and therefore that's what I'm bottled to. Why am I interested in the reality? I'm interested in my own experience. This is the principle of beetle to the Ein Sof. I cannot possibly be interested in terms of my seichel of this reality. But I have a recognition of its supremacy, of its truth, and we call it reality. Something which has nothing to do with my personal appreciation, my personal understanding. Everybody heard of Hagar. Hagar was a shipka from Sodom. She was a mitzvah. Who was Hagar? Hagar was Pharaoh's daughter. And Avraham was traveling in the early days when he was traveling and came to Mitzrayim and so forth. And passed through Mitzrayim. And there was a whole ado and Nisim and so forth. So among the things, among the people that joined Avraham was Hagar, Pharaoh's daughter. Pharaoh said to her, it's much better for you to be a maid for Sarah than to be a mistress and a master in my palace. Pharaoh, who was a king, he was a Pharaoh. A mitzvah. But nonetheless, a king has certain insights and certain superior insights that he can, so to speak, bypass the entire moral process. So Pharaoh says, this is a better choice. Be a maid servant by Sarah than to be a princess in my palace.
Participant number 1.
What does that mean? Even Pharaoh recognized it. In other words, there's an aspect. I've been spending time on this anyway, so might as well. There's a huge world with an enormous variety, enormous beauty and so forth, greatness. And it's so enticing to get involved and to find out and to learn about it infinitely. You can never end its pursuit. If one is sensitive to what he's pursuing, to what he's involved in. If one reflects, oh, this is a great world, and then he stops for a moment and says, where does this world come from? It evolved from a molecule. Yeah. Okay, so it's great. But what if he knows and he realizes that this world did not evolve? This world was created as is by a creator. Suddenly the world assumes a completely different significance. Not only significance towards me, but in general, you stand in awe of this creation. Because of the Creator's people, the Creator's will, that they express it in this world. It's a completely different perspective. If we perceive, even at this level, that there is a source that conceptualized this great world, already we stand in awe. But then we stand in awe, for me, how'd you guess? But then when you stand in awe, you stand in awe from the manifest aspect of this greatness. And yes, it's significant to us because this manifest aspect is something that reaches us. It's given to us, it affects us. We are beneficiaries of it. It would be better God if we wanted it to be continued because we're benefiting from it. We live with it. But then, there is even a deeper insight in the neshama. The neshama is like a melech, not interested in personal gain. He wants to know what truth it is. Then he turns and says, yes, this is a great manifestation of great wisdom, a great capability. What about the one who possesses that wisdom? What about the one who possesses that greatness? I can bypass all that greatness and I want to be with him. That cognizance that I want to be with him, even though this does not translate in your personal experience, your personal appreciation. It's just called beat. I'd rather bypass my total experience of my own life, but to be connected to this truth. That's why I said about this story from Pari. Pari, Melech Mitzrayim, recognized it's preferable for his daughter to be a maid by Sarah than to be a princess in his palace. Why should she being a maid by Sarah? Be a maid, should be washing the floors. Personal experience is no comparison. But on a subtle and a nalam level, on a truth level, she has truth over here and she has world over
Paro's daughter was Bittul of Hayim Shemaya, Bittul of
This is not Paro's daughter. This is Paro. Paro is the one who was sent to the world. As I said before, it's a melech. A melech has a certain, he's in a certain higher perspective because he's totally independent. So even Paro, Melech Mitzrayim, was able to have this kind of insight. It behooves us to think about it. But I think it is. All right. So we took a detour a little bit, but now let's come back, make the circle back. Kabbalah Seil Malchus Shemayim, the third line of the second section. Kabbalah Seil Inyan is representing the principle of a beetle. The beetle means a non-entity. If you're a non-entity, so what are you going to gain by it? I'd rather be a non-entity in this truth than to be an entity in a different. Beetle ain't soif. Balarotza means I don't even know what's going on in his mind. The one who possesses the will. I have no benefits. I do not benefit. I do not experience the richness that's going on in his mind. But because this is the Ein Sof, this is the source of everything. The source of everything, not because he's the source of everything, but because he is the reality itself, Ein Sof. I would rather be connected to the Ein Sof Baal Rotzen than to have anything that's manifest that I can process in my own experience. I think I can figure out that, right? There's no big deal. Yeah.
overall in Chassidus, this goes along with Yirat Hator, Yirat Law, and Bittul B'Metzias, Bittul B'Hayesh. Over here, he doesn't mention it yet. Is he going to mention it later?
You already mentioned Yirat Hator, Yirat Law.
Yira. This is a Yira.
But Yirat Law. Okay. So Shema Yisrael, this represents Kabbalah saying Malchus Shamayim. Kabbalah saying Malchus Shamayim means that he has the Malchus Shamayim before there was any orders issued to him as to what he has to do. So what is this Kabbalah Soil about? So he never explains. This is the beetle to the Ein Soil Balarot. Again, if we allow ourselves a seichel to connect the two, Balarot is an entity unto himself. He doesn't spread out who he is. You bottle to this Balarot. What happens? There's nothing for you to receive from that. You're not going to gain anything. There's no product that it's transferred from the Balarot to you. This is beetle to the Balarot to insert himself. Not to what he is saying, but to him himself. So what happens as a result of this beetle? A phenomenal thing happens as a result of this beetle. All of this is total, essentially, it is all beetle, which means nothing is left of you, but something phenomenal happens as a result. What happens? lirtzot. It translates that you have the will. Kol ma shu ritzon yisborach. Everything that he wants, that becomes your will. The kima mitzvahs. In performing mitzvahs. Where's kima mitzvah come into this? Because you are at the level of the world. You, the Indian, but your level is in performing things in the world. This is called kima mitzvahs.